Welcome back and thank you very much for your time here on TV3 NEWDAY. The Business Finder says ease of doing business report. Ghana moves up 6 places from 120 in 2018 to 114 in 2019. It comes with a photo of Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed Awal, Minister for Business Development. ICU rejects housing project with pension funds and building code a game changer, says the Vice President. The Ghanaian Times says Ghana building code unveiled, build a prosperous Africa. President urges international forum. Parliament condemns killing of Saudi Arabian journalists, and Supreme Court quashes default judgment against Professor Avoke. And the Daily Guide says MPP dares NDC over Nyantichi. Bawumia motivates youth. Unibank directors strike KPMG. And the 2-4 storms KNUST will step aside VC. And the Daily Graphic, Supreme Court quashes ruling on UUW. High Court decision breached natural justice. Photo of Justice Docheda on the front page. And Nyantichi to appeal FIFA ban. Fine. And government raises no objection. ExxonMobil to start oil exploration at Cape 3 Point. Ease in doing business. Ghana ranks 6 places higher. World Bank report. And NAPCO employees start work today. The BNFT is our final one for today. It says pursue excellence to beat global competition. There, Mohammed Awal is telling some entrepreneurs and business persons there. 2019 budget will sustain good progress made. Deputy Finance Minister, an acute drug shortage hit health facilities. TECPA warns against vanishing petroleum revenues, and World Bank ease of doing business report. Paperless ports move Ghana up. My guest this morning, the Deputy Communications Director of the New Patriotic Party, Kamaldeen Abdullai, is here, and a former deputy, a former member of Parliament and spokesperson of the Ministry of Energy, Edward
I'm not formal. I'm still kidding.
Sorry. I forgot about this. Sorry. Spokesperson of the Ministry of Energy, Edward Barr. Most grateful for your time. Apologies for it. Apologies.
But thank you so much for anticipating what we so much desire.
No, please. Don't put your spin on my. I beg you.
When I say we so much desire, that is MPP.
Don't put your spin on my slip. I beg you.
Thank you so much for anticipating.
Come on. Welcome. NAPCO workers, employees are starting work today. What do we need to know? Is there anything you want to share?
Well, once again, very good morning to you. Good morning to my brother Edward, as well as the viewers out there. I sat here the last time and tried my best, in fact, to commend the President of the Republic of Ghana and his team for such a novelty, such an initiative that will see over 100,000, or if you like 100,000 young men and women in this country engage tentatively while they wait for, if you like, permanent engagements in terms of employment. In my quest to commend the President, I did allude to certain antecedents that we have in the form of good governance, in the form of how we can fight this canker called unemployment in this country. And I had cause to talk about when the MPP-1 came into power somewhere in 2001, January 7, 2001. We tried hard to establish a data of unemployed persons in this country by embarking on the registration of unemployed people, be it formal or non-formal. That gave us a picture of what actually is happening on the ground. Then in an event, we had the institution of the NYEP, which is the National Youth Employment Program. Having had this, trust me, even though a temporal measure put in place, a stopgap measure you may call it, it's gone a long way to benefit many. Today, after we left power, NDC came, they had cause to continue, except to add that the nomenclature changed from NYEP to JIDA, where a lot of J-NEDI happened. And of course, today somebody is languishing in jail because of that. Then it metamorphosed from JIDA to, again, YEA. Of course, its governance is a going concern. And I'm happy that we are all moving on this. Now, this initiative called NAPCO, also coming again with the main reason being, let's see how we can get our young men from the universities, our young ladies from the universities, from the technical universities and all that, mostly the tertiary institution. How can we get them engaged temporarily while we try to make sure that we move? Don't forget that when Eddie and Co. took over governance, they had cause to take us to the IMF. And in fact, certain conditionalities were imposed on us. Why you did that?
I said, don't go there.
Oh no, I'm only telling you did that. You did that anyway. I'm not going there.
On,
they had cause to take us to IMF. No, I'm just giving you reasons why. It's not the main topic.
Yes,
but I'm just they had cause.
You're spending forever.
Wait a minute. No, I'm just.
Let me put a question. Hold on.
Let me make a point. Let me make a point so that at least viewers will appreciate what I'm doing. They said they had cause to take us to IMF, and having taken us to IMF, what they did was that
Abdullai, let me host you.
You're hosting me.
Don't hijack my show.
Okay.
Don't hijack my show. So, question I asked you was, what do we need to know? NAPCO is starting.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
So tell me.
So I am ending on the NAPCO, the note of NAPCO, and I'm telling you reasons why we needed to go to NAPCO.
Now, do we have all the 100,000 persons starting job today at a go? That's what I want to find out from you. Maybe I didn't put a question specifically.
If you don't build a premise, you don't tell the viewer. Okay.
2 weeks ago, you were here to build a premise.
Why? 2 weeks ago, there were those who didn't watch the show, who didn't even listen to me talking about NAPCO. Today, there are new people who are there, so the news is new to them. And I'm saying that being new, this is the foundation. And
we don't have the whole day.
I know we don't have.
Do we have all the 100,000 people starting jobs?
Well, your answer is in the affirmative, Claire. Your answer. I say your answer is in the affirmative. However, the building the premise of this particular discourse is also very important, which I said that taking us to IMF held our hands or tied our hands up that we could not do employments, as it were. Getting clearance is becoming a problem because you needed to go through the tenets of the conditions that IMF gave you. Therefore, what can the government of the day do? Think out of the box. See how we can bring out a novelty. Get a program put in place. Okay. That young man who is home and doing nothing, at least at the end of the month, will have some 700 Ghana cedis.
Most grateful. Thank you very much.
So I think, to answer your question now,
you said 100,000
young men, trust me, are starting job today.
Okay. Honorable Edward Bauer is the MP for Bongo constituency. Honorable, 100,000 people are starting work today. That certainly is good news. It's a relax on the bedding, if you will.
Good morning to your viewers and good morning to our constituents and the Paramount Chief of Bongo. I think that basically anybody who would get up in the morning and go and do something with the hope of getting some form of payment at the end of the month is good news. But what it simply means is that the person at least can make do with something.
Right.
So I am not for a moment trying to indicate that, oh, this is not a good idea. There are very fundamental questions you ask as to whether they were starting today or not. Right. Because you do know that their starting point had been shifted a number of times. Right. And so it was a legitimate question to ask, particularly coming from a deputy communications director for the party. We needed him on live TV to say it was going to start or not. And he said it is in the affirmative. Right. So which means there is good news for the people. Exactly. That being said, you see, it is important to put this thing within a particular framework and learn from our mistakes. I'm happy he used the whole idea that, look, there was this introduction of YEA that became JIDA, then became YEA now, as we speak now. If you recall, when it was introduced under Kufuor, one of the challenges that finally came and it emanated into even the whole JIDA thing was the fact that there was not even any legal framework that supported the program.
Right.
So there were no frameworks that anybody who was working within that sector knew that this, per the law, this is what I'm supposed to do, this is not what I'm supposed to do. I thought that would have been a lesson for all of us to learn that, look, now introducing yet another thing, that you should have some level of legal framework that will guide even the operators within that particular sector. Say that we don't fall into the same trap that we fell in when NYEP was introduced. But I think we have not learned it as a people. That's the first point.
Really?
Yeah, because there's no legal framework guiding it. That's the first point. Secondly,
Kamal says there is.
I'll explain. Don't worry.
Legal.
No.
I'm a parliamentarian.
No,
I'm saying there's no
I'm
legal.
already saying
I'm saying that I'm a parliamentarian. So when I use the word, you see, nobody in this country can make any law unless it's through parliament.
Absolutely.
So I am saying, so I'm a parliamentarian, so I know what I'm talking about. The other point I needed to make was, you see, sometimes, in as much as I'm excited for the quoted unquote 100,000 people who were brought from all over the place to come and march at what do you call it, Independence Square for a job. In as much as I'm happy for them.
They came to launch it, they didn't come to march.
Okay, whatever it was. The issue is that today we are going to post some of them to health centers to go and work. Meanwhile, we have people who we have trained, and they all have tertiary qualification, but they are diploma holders, called nurses, who today have no job. Indeed, you do know that they wanted to demonstrate, and the police was negotiating with them that they should bring 6 people to go and see the president. You remember that story? So you have people who have been trained with taxpayers' resources for specific job. They don't have the job. Then we go pick other people. I'm not saying they don't need to work. Take them to the same institution to work. Okay. That's the first point. Today, we are asking teachers that they should write, after they have finished their training colleges and whatever they do, to be able to practice, you need to write an exam to be licensed.
Wrap up for me.
Meanwhile, at the same time, today we are taking people into those places straight away who are not even trained to go and still interact with our kids in school. I am saying that as a country, let's begin, if we want to resolve the issue of unemployment, let's be very critical about it. Let's see what will create sustainable jobs. Okay. Because I am happy you had also indicated that this is just a training center, as it were. Because after 2 years, you need to find an exit route. So within the 2 years, what are the, it's 3 years, huh? Yes, it's 3 years, okay. So what are the things put in place in terms of policies that will create the jobs that they promised? That at the end of the day, because today is what? November, yes. Because we're told that in 18 months,
we need to go.
In 18 months, we're going to have a different Ghana. And the different Ghana, the topmost issue that affected us in the 2016 election was about employment. Okay. So if you had a presidential candidate say that in 18 months, we're going to change things. And today, what we are seeing is rather having our trained youth on the streets asking for jobs. Then it's a question we need to be asking.
Thank you very much. The BNFT says acute drug shortage hits health facilities as suppliers refuse NHIS approved rates. Now, it says there's an acute shortage of over 54 basic and other essential medicines at health insurance scheme accredited health facilities, as drug suppliers refuse to replenish depleting stock of health facilities. Suppliers, according to the Christian Health Association of Ghana, have refused the approved drug rate endorsed by the NHI. Hence, the decision to hold back essential supplies. According to CHAG, NHIS accredited health service providers now diagnose prescribed medicines and direct patients to obtain them from other sources. This certainly is a big of concern, and we started getting some of these reports about 2 weeks ago. Now, this is where we are. The NHI is supposed to be a savior of the people, and the acute shortage hits it, perhaps because, and they have been explaining that they are owed some monies, and so they don't have the money to stock the place. Are we going to get out of this quagmire? Come on.
You see, someone talks about Ghana being heaven in 18 months. Okay. And that we had cause to promise that indeed we're going to make sure that the business environment, the social responsibility of government environment, or the support base in terms of pro-poor policies are going to see a boost. Indeed, I won't shy away from what we said. We had said so, we had cause to write same in our manifestos, and we had cause to talk about same.
You're talking about drugs, so
I'm coming. I know what I'm
talking about.
Of course.
It's within your time. It's within your time.
Communication.
But it's within your time.
I know what I'm talking about. We had cause to say all this.
But it's within your time.
Now, regarding health insurance, we had cause to talk about it. We're worried as a people how a noble policy like this, proper policy, giving birth by, again, the party that thinks about people, the party that is sensitive to the plight of many in this country, MPP, somewhere in 2003, was handed over to an inept one, which came, handled it.
Is inept not too strong a word?
Oh, it's
Oh,
not,
no,
it's
let
not,
him,
it's
no,
not.
no,
No,
I'll
it's
get a
not.
chance to
Of
rebut it,
course,
so I'll
it's
tell
not,
him.
it's
Don't
not,
worry.
it's not, no,
Don't
come
worry,
on.
don't worry.
It's a
Go on,
description.
go on, go on, go on.
It's
Honestly,
just,
don't want to
it's a
change it.
description, a simple description. I mean, this is not, it's just a description
Don't
of
worry, don't worry.
a party that we have.
Yeah, don't worry.
You know, we handed over the entire operations of NHIS after Ghanaians said, look, we have shown you an exit. Then we did the handing over to that inept party. They came in. We all know where NHIS was pegged, with the promise of NHIS going to be one-time premium that Ghanaians voted for. Up till date, you and I are yet to see the one-time premium.
And so that's just
With the
So
promise,
justification
I'm
for
telling
limitation.
oh no, please,
Power,
please.
allow me
You
to
see,
do my work,
allow me
please.
to flow. With the promise of one-time premium, Ghanaians gave it to you. We also came and handed over. My good brother, we have not seen the one-time premium. All we saw, or all we have seen after Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was sworn in on the 7th of January, was to go through serious debts inherited. I'm coming, that's why the story has been, it's given prominence on the front page. Serious debts.
What hope is there?
Non-payment of claims.
What hope is there for the woman in Bongo who
Yes,
this morning will go with a card to want to assess
if you
medicine
don't
and
let
this one?
the listener and the viewer appreciate where we're coming from,
Okay.
you can't jump to say that we have done XYZ. I'm telling you, well, this is where we came from. This is what we have inherited. And having inherited this, we didn't stop there.
He decided
The
to bring
president of the
shortage.
republic said, look, I will need somebody who would appreciate figures, who would appreciate, if you like, financial management and all that, to lead my health sector as well, because the major social intervention policy, which is a proper policy, which is NHIS, is actually not handled well.
You have 2
and
minutes
claims
more.
are not being paid.
Come out.
So therefore, he brought in a minister who had so much concern, for this NHIS. Where are we today? You are talking about some suppliers refusing to pay.
Right.
Go and trace the documents. Go and trace when they were owed, how much, and why are they refusing today? The point here is that we've done our bit when we came. We've done some payments. We've made a lot of payments. And having done this, of course, we would have to look at why some of them are still refusing, because I sometimes don't blame them, because they know that the hanging debts that we inherited, caused by my brother and co, as I said, is something, if they do not push hard, maybe all governments may be the same. That's what the illusion.
But you are in the
now the
saddle
point here is that we have done. I'm telling you that
you have paid
NHIS,
money. You have paid money.
Yes,
You
we
claim,
came out recently
you
to
claim,
talk about it.
Right.
No, claim.
Now,
we have. There's proof.
now, the woman out there, and I'm still going back to the ordinary Ghanaian out there, who would today go to the clinic at Asamankesi with the NHIS card, and the doctor will see her, the prescription will be given to her, but she can't access the medicine. That's the woman I'm talking about, who has no help from anywhere.
And that is why I'm saying that we have told you what we have inherited and what we have done so far. And trust me, I cannot sit here to churn out figures of how much we paid, what have we done. But point is that, trust me, we have as a government, we have as a government paid. Okay, we have as a government paid a lot of debts that we came to inherit. And as a result, NHIS is becoming, if you like, a bit better now.
That's the situation of the non-availability of the drugs not affect the universal health access that the NHI is supposed to cure.
Why? It's obvious that it may affect, especially largely the poor. You understand? Those who cannot even afford. That is why we thought that, look, it's important we have such a social intervention policy in place so that we could go on. Nonetheless, if the management wasn't done well yesterday and you've come to pick it up, you would have to take some little time to clean the mess. And that is why we are on course doing what we can do. And
how much time do we need to fix this?
Why, since we came, I can tell you, we've cleared certain debts, a lot of them.
Okay.
And you can find out. It's just that, unfortunately, I didn't know that we're going to
The minister said $500,000. The minister said half a million. So we have another half to pay.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
It tells you, I'm happy you have given me the figures.
So how long do we need to pay that?
I'm
curious.
My good brother, we have been in power for 20 months or so now, 21 months if you want to call it, okay? And if we have been able to inherit debt and pay over 500,000 of such debts within the 20 months,
that
someone used over 8 years or more to accumulate, then you have used less than 21 months to service some of these debts. As a responsible government, of course, you can only say there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay. Thank you. Bawa, this is the situation. I'm sure your constituents will be disturbed hearing this particular one. And we started getting some of these reports some 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Which is, of course, going to trace the history.
Does this, for you as a member of parliament, affect the universal health delivery system that we intend to make free and accessible to everybody else?
Yeah, thank you. I think that first of all, I will want to agree with you when you ask a question today. Is somebody from Bongo, a poor woman going to the hospital after the prescription and everything, whether the person can access the critical medications to keep the person alive? Somebody in the Mankesim, or the Mankesi that you made. This is something that is worrying. So I sympathize with Ghanaians who will find themselves in such situations because of lack of critical medications in our hospitals. And you realize that it is zeroed down to the National Health Insurance stuff. You recall maybe about a month or 2 ago, my house is just by the hospital in Bolga. I share a wall with them. I had occasion to have hold of a document from the medical director indicating clearly that even if you came to cleaning maybe a wound or something in the hospital, you were to be charged 50 Ghana cedis.
Really?
So I put it on social media. People went after me. After some time, you know what happened? The director of health services had to issue a statement asking the hospital to reverse it. That's the first thing. And asking for a probe into it. So they had moved from the fact that it was a fake document to asking for an investigation into the same thing. So this is just part of what is happening in the National Health Insurance. And I'm going to explain a few things to you. It's true. In 2010, look, first, let me also just indicate, and you and I know, it is a matter of record that when they talk about the National Health Insurance scheme, it started on pilot basis before there was a full-scale thing. So when you hear somebody say, we introduced it, the fact that you gave it a full-scale, I'll explain to you the full-scale issue when I come to 2003. Don't create an impression as if you were the one who brought it. Because, my brother, at the time the MPP was leaving government in 2008, between 2003 when they introduced in 2008, utilization was about 500,000. Utilization was about 500,000. At the time the NDC was leaving government, these are records at National Health Insurance, utilization was about 27 million. So you had moved from utilization of 500,000 to about 27 million. That's the first thing.
Of a population of how many people?
Of the population, our population is just about 20, I don't know, is almost 28, 20. So when I say utilization, when I say utilization, it means that the frequency at which people go to the using the card.
Right.
You understand my point? We identified one critical concern that we had in terms of funding, that there was a funding gap. Because if you even paid all the National Health Insurance levy to the National Health, because of the level of utilization, there was still a funding gap that needed to be dealt with. The NPP government indicated to Ghanaians that no, it had nothing to do with the funding gap, but it was as a result of non-payment of arrears. That was the argument they made. Today, as we speak, if we talk in terms of arrears, because if you look at the National Health Insurance thing, after the supplies, you have 90 days to be able to do the payment. So within 90 days, it's still within, you are current. Right. I don't know that making sense. So 90 days will be just 3 months.
3 months.
You understand? So when you have a situation where you build any arrears beyond 90 days, then it is no longer normal. As we speak today, and you can cross-check this, in terms of arrears for medical facilities and suppliers, it's almost a year.
The NPP says it's because of the huge debt that you left,
which is collapsing the NHIS. The point I'm making is that, and I'm going back to the initial statement I made, it had nothing to do with debt. It had nothing to do with arrears. It had to do with funding gap.
But if you owe and you don't pay,
it is not true.
How do you tell
that was a propaganda they took out there.
It was?
Look, it was a propaganda. Look, at the time when National Health Insurance was consistently saying that, look, and I've made a point. I'm saying that if you owe somebody within 3 months, it is within, because if you look at the scheme, it's been made in such a way that it's just like fuel. They go to supply to an outlet. And in some particular OMCs will say that, look, you have 14 days to pay. So within the 14 days, you actually do not owe because you are still current. In the same way with the National Health Insurance, within 90 days, you are still current. So when you talk about arrears and you go and indicate that, oh, they were in arrears about 3 months, they were in arrears about 6 months, you understand the point I'm making? Then you are not speaking to the facts of what the operational systems that have been put in place.
There was also, Mr. Honorable Bar, there was also an
call me Bar, don't this honorable
instances where people had delayed claims because some of the figures were bloated. Those were managerial issues. Which
so there were clinical audits. So what they did,
put up the wage bill,
and you know that was how under the NDC we brought in what we call the clinical audits. You remember that so even some doctors from Central Region and other things were arrested and imprisoned because people were inflating figures.
Absolutely.
To the extent that you realize that these were not things that we due them. And it was part of a way of pruning down and ensuring that there was efficiency even with the limited resources that the National Health Insurance Scheme had. Today, you have a National Health Insurance that cannot buy medications for hospitals, but they have money to pay for somebody, an MP, the deputy majority leader, to go to Harvard and do a program on procurement. Meanwhile, they cannot buy medications. You have a National Health Insurance that will vote almost 400,000 that they were using in Christmas, they were going to use it for monitoring. When they cannot buy critical medications for hospitals. I am just trying to make a point to you that, look, there's a bigger picture that we need to all deal with as a country.
What's that?
That has to do with the fact that we have a funding gap.
How do we fix it? I'm curious.
We need to find sources of getting the money. And until they admit that the National Health Insurance, because their argument in opposition was that it had nothing to do with funding gap. It had to do everything with the fact that you were not paying what you were collecting.
The Ghana Health Service had proposed a regenerative health system where you would have people educated on how not to get ill so that we can let the NHIS breathe.
Yes.
Because if all three of us in a week are all going to the hospital to tap from the same funds, we will have a problem. But then if I go this week and it takes another 3 weeks before you go, the system will breathe.
You see, I agree with you. And that is why, even as part of, if you look at primary health care providers, part of their thing is not only in terms of treating ailments, it is also to conscientize people on how to live healthy lives. You understand the point? Right. So we already have the systems in place to be able to deal with those things. So
why is it not working then?
No, the question is this. You see, and I want us to go back. You see, when you use propaganda and lie your way, you lie your way into government, playing on the health of people, playing on the education of people, and you come into government. This is exactly what you get. And you know the other thing. You see. You realize that you also realize that when you gave him an opportunity for almost 5 to 6, 7, 8 minutes, he could not tell you why we're having this. Because for me, it is critical. You see, if today, you know why I'm making this point. You know why I'm making this point.
I never told you.
You know why I'm making this point. Can you imagine that none of us touch wood that anything will happen, that you are picked maybe after this studio rush to a hospital. And then maybe they just need a normal infusion. And they can't get it. They may now have to let your family run into medical shops or chemical shops to see if they can buy. You know the risk it has for you in your life. This is something that we need to be looking at. So if you have a government that is creating we have created a conducive environment when you can't take care of the health needs of the people.
Okay.
Then it is critical.
Okay, Bawa, thank you very much. Come on, 1 minute, because we need to read the messages.
Their failures as a government when they were in power is not an excuse to us.
Okay.
We are supposed to remain focused and remain strong and firm on our way forward.
You are not making excuses.
Simple. Listen, we would not.
All along, all the thing you did was excuses.
Listen to me. I'm saying that
he gave you a lot of space.
He spoke about over 27 million people being on the platform of NHIS.
No, I say utilization. Oh, yes.
Of being on the platform.
No, it does not necessarily mean that. There are two different terms.
To utilize.
Let me educate you on that.
Let's go.
Let me educate you on that.
Please let me go. So now he spoke about it. Now these were projections that you were supposed to make even before you got there. You never did. Then you sat down and told Ghanaians, the entire country, that when you come, every single person is going to just pay one-time premium. You are talking about funding gap.
Is there a funding gap? Well, as you know.
Why? Even the chief executive came out to speak about to talk about it.
So how do we fix it?
How do we fix it? That is why, again, being people who think about Ghana, we said that, look, let us have a component of our levies in this country, or taxes in this country, dealing with the NHIS. Reason why the 2.5 levy is imposed.
That has not solved the problem.
It has not. Are we thinking out of the box again? What are we looking at? It has always been the MPP to think of proper policy, to think of measures that will be put in place to get it developed. So today, we brought the 2.5. When they came, he's talking about funding gap. He's talking about funding gap. What did they do? Ask him.
Oh, let me tell you.
Nothing.
Oh, let me tell you.
All right, we'll take your comments now.
Tell me, what
we'll
did
take
you do?
your comments
Even before the funding gap.
Gentlemen.
What did you do? Tell me nothing.
Okay, let's check out your comments, of course. We have had a lot of time to speak, but let's hear what the public have to say as well. It says, good morning, Mr. Hughes and Dr. Amma. Thank you for life, wisdom and knowledge dawned on this wonderful professor. Lord, who gave him these wisdom and knowledge. Okay, I'm sure we can read these ones later. These were for Professor, what do you call it? Okay, it says, my name is Gladys Nyablo Mase. In the year 2013, I had an accident which left me in the orthopedic condition. I've been referred to St. Anthony Catholic Hospital for treatment at a cost of surgery that drives me. And amount is welcome. So you're soliciting. We'll raise funds for you, Alice, there. Thank you very much. I'm trying to look for the messages regarding the conversation we've been having recently. Oh, OT region is featuring as well. Yes, I'll go down. Kamaldeen knows the job, and he's a communication director. Interesting there. So your thoughts and comments are welcome. Good morning, Mr. Johnny. Please find out for us. Are NAPCO recruits starting work today, or they are going to be posted today? Well, Kamal says they are starting work today, which is which? Because as I write to you now, recruits of Revenue Ghana module have not been posted. So how are they going to start work today? Saeed from Tamale is worried. Did I hear you say NAPCO trainees are starting work today? Some of us are still at home. Yes, some trainees in Educate Ghana, Feed Ghana, Heal Ghana, Civic Ghana, and Digitize Ghana modules have received their placements and nomination notifications. The rest of the trainees under the above mentioned modules who have not yet received placement notifications should be told to keep calm. All Revenue Ghana and Enterprise Ghana trainees are yet to receive their placement. That's Ghana for you. Not true that NAPCO employees are starting work today because government is yet to post them. Peter Inobwasi says, Nana Akufo-Addo's government has really disappointed the youth, especially newly trained teachers of this country. When they were in opposition, they said they would create jobs, but when they came into power, the education minister is telling new teachers to do national service and after that find their own job. This means they are no more going to post us after the service, but they should remember that we brought them into power and we shall descend them or take them off in 2020. Good morning. Please, can Kamal explain if the job is there for this NAPCO? Okay, we are NAPCO graduates unemployed. How can we start work today when there's no placement? I'm not partisan, but however, following NAPCO updates, I now believe politicians are hypocrites. Amit. And good morning. Teacher trainees have been lied to. We never knew MPP could make our lives miserable like this. Oh, how I wish time could be reversed. Newly trained teachers are not against any national policy. We are only asking government to post us so that Our first year of work shall be used as our national service. They don't want to do that. Come 2020, we and our genius in the field will show Nana. Please, no NAPCO applicant is working today. It's not true. This government has no shame. Kamal has just told untruth. It's a palpable lie that 100,000 NAPCO recruits are starting work today. It's a big lie. Nobody from the Revenue Ghana has been posted. So where are these? Where's this news coming from? Said from Tamale. Good morning, Johnny and your panelists. I think we need to be serious in this country when it comes to national issues. How can you make 100,000 unemployed graduates go and march, and now when it's time for placement, you post only 44,000 and say the rest will be posted later? If so, why didn't you let the 44,000 come for the passing out? Let's stop this joke. Nicholas in Tema. The NSS Secretary should instruct all teachers on the field without national service certificate to do the national service since their tertiary started from 2005. If not, we will also not do it. But if politicians force us to do it, God will surely punish them. George McLean. I think that NSS is a national requirement. The fact that people apply for NAPCO doesn't mean they are not trained. Most of them are trained. They are trained nurses, trained teachers, and a whole lot of people trained in lots of field. That I agree with you. I think the NPP government is failing now. How can you leave teacher training with all that requisite skill in the house and employ NAPCO into the classroom? 2020 is just at the corner. Please tell the management of youth employment to pay the exit fund. From John in Saboba. We, those in Revenue Ghana, haven't received messages for posting. And please, my problem is, are they going to pay the allowance and the exit fund of the year beneficiaries who were employed 2 years ago? Our 2 months allowance and our exit fund are not yet paid. Interesting there, he says so. But we'll get your attention shortly on something more later. Interesting. Let's wrap up, gentlemen. So, come on. It turns out that the NAPCO guys say they are not working. Only 44,000 of them. Say not all 100,000 of them.
I'm not sure I don't know whether your editorial board has a way of verifying all these text messages that come as to whether the claims made are what they are outside there.
There are different numbers.
Absolutely. There are different numbers, so you cannot even verify. So my point is that the point I'm trying to make is that...
No, I believe in the spirit of fake spare parts dealers. Remember when they say fake...
Why you people went and gathered some people to come out and say that they were not happy? Yeah. Okay. We saw that.
Come out.
Later on they came to the bank.
But people are challenging that all 100... they say 44,000 of them are working, not 100,000.
What have been posted?
What I do know...
Have been posted.
You see, what I do know is that by the close of November, all those who are supposed to be there, over 100,000 people who are supposed to be under NAPCO, inshallah, will be receiving their salary.
My question to
and
you
of course,
was,
I am also
are
aware
they all starting work today?
Why?
Your answer said it's an affirmative.
That's the
yes.
communique we have, and that's what it is. I'm telling you, what it is that...
No, that's what you were told.
From today, all NAPCO, if you like, beneficiaries are supposed to start work, and they are starting work. That is my position. It's not a lie.
They are not. I mean, Revenue Ghana, for example. That's
the text. You see, why? I said somewhere,
numbers.
with all respect to those who text into programs, I'm not seeking to treat them with disdain. But the point is, I can sit anywhere, take my phone as a political.
So where did you get your information from that all 100,000?
Well, I'm speaking
so you are not questioning. You are questioning the integrity of the text.
Why? That's why. Look, I was very skeptical when I was making this point.
But you said no. But you are saying that the people who sit in their homes and they are venting out their frustrations.
Is that what you do?
So he's making the point that
he's questioning their integrity.
Edward can sit here. Let me even be straightforward. Edward can sit here, send a message to someone, send this text.
So you don't trust the messages that came?
Why? I'm not.
So you don't trust them?
Listen.
Edward, allow me.
It's not to say that I am
so disrespectful to your viewers.
No,
it's disrespectful. So do you pick up your phone?
Don't incite anybody.
No, it is disrespectful.
But the point I'm making is that it's also possible.
Come on, do you pick up your phone and send messages that are not correct onto programs? Is that what you do?
Well, I don't do that.
Okay, so why do you have reason to believe that somebody watching will do that?
It's not to say that others will be able to do that.
You know, you have a platform.
I am privy to information.
You have faithful followers. No. If somebody sits on your TV to create an impression that the people who patronize your programs are people of mercy, you should be defending them.
He said that's not what he said. Slow down.
You should be defending them.
Stop inciting. Stop inciting.
Let him go ahead.
Stop inciting.
score some political points.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Even to the extent that you can give.
Come on, where did you get your information that 100,000 young people are? I want to know your source.
The NAPCO secretariat. Okay. The NAPCO secretariat.
So Ibrahim Anya's story
is your source. Okay, thank you very much. Honorable Edward Bauer is the MP for Bongo constituency. He was here on behalf of the NDC, and Kamaldeen Abdullai is the Deputy National Communications Director of the NPP. Gentlemen, I thank you for your time. And for all the NAPCO guys out there,